Have you visited every specialist for autoimmune disease, but you still wake up with joint pain? Have you tried every diet, but still can't eat due to painful digestive issues? Trying to keep up with your to-do list and family, but chronic fatigue has you glued to the couch? To celebrate the 3-year anniversary of the podcast, I am giving you my top 3 strategies to finally take control of your health and your life. Grab a pen and paper. For this episode, you will need it. Let's get into it. Have you tried everything to eliminate autoimmune symptoms like joint pain and digestion issues without relief? Are you struggling to keep up with the demands of life due to chronic fatigue? Does chronic pain keep you from doing the things you love in life? If you are feeling defeated and hopeless, you are not alone. I am Ashley Cavolo, a busy working mom who once struggled with debilitating autoimmune symptoms. I too felt like giving up after trying every possible solution without relief from symptoms like joint pain and stiffness, painful digestion issues, relentless chronic fatigue, and embarrassing brain fog. Until it was time to stop allowing the pain to control my life. I dove into the root cause of autoimmune diseases and was shocked to find the answer is not found in endless doctor visits, harsh medications, expensive supplements, or strict food lists. The secret to healing autoimmune symptoms is found within the specific habits that reduce inflammation and heal symptoms quickly and naturally. I applied what I learned and found relief from my symptoms in a matter of weeks. 7 years later, I am living a pain-free life free of autoimmune symptoms. I turned this discovery into a self-paced program called the Autoimmune Reboot, where I share my secrets and my step-by-step process to help you heal your symptoms quickly so you can live a pain-free life. This podcast is for you if you are ready to eliminate joint pain so you can jump out of bed every morning pain-free. Heal and maintain a healthy gut so you can enjoy your favorite foods again without that uncomfortable bloat. Go from no energy and endless coffee breaks to an abundance of natural energy and stamina to tackle the day. Eliminate uncomfortable autoimmune symptoms such as bloating, brain fog, constipation, diarrhea, digestion pain, inflammation, joint stiffness, skin rashes, and many more. Living a pain-free life is easier and closer than you think. I can't wait to show you what I discovered. Refresh your coffee and let's dive in. Welcome to this special episode. Today I am sharing with you the top 3 things I did to put my autoimmune symptoms into remission. They are straight out of the program, the Autoimmune Reboot, where I give you the exact steps to eat, move, and live for a symptom-free life. So make sure you have your pen and paper ready to write these down, and be sure to listen until the end because I am saving my number 1 habit for last. 3 years ago today, the very first episode of the podcast was released. 3 years later, the podcast is still going strong, and my mission is to share hope with people who are living with chronic pain every day. I've recently started incorporating guest interviews. My guests are sharing stories of healing chronic diseases like MS, cancer, and many autoimmune conditions. I do this to inspire you and to share one message that healing is possible. And I want you to know healing is possible for you too. It is so important to me that I bring this to light because no one tells us this. Not one doctor told me there are things I can do at home for my chronic pain, so I am sharing them with you. I didn't find answers in a magic pill, in a supplement, or a specialist. Instead, there are 3 things I did that changed my life forever. So let's get into these 3 habits. Number 3 is boundaries. I can almost guarantee you boundaries are not the first thing you are thinking about when it comes to your health. So let me explain why this is so important. There are many sneaky factors in your environment affecting your health, and you don't even realize it. Things like people and places. That could be negative family and friends, people with lack of boundaries themselves. Maybe they're needy and expect things of you often, so you're always bending over backwards. And it could be people with unhealthy habits, like who are going out drinking often. Places could be a stressful job that keeps you up at night so you don't get sleep. It could be a lack of structure at home. So maybe your kids go to bed late, so that means you go to bed late. And maybe your pantry is full of junk food, so you always have unhealthy options at hand. So let's talk about people, for example. They say you are the 5 people you spend the most time with. To make things a bit easier, I want you to think about 3 people who you spend the most time with and what are their frequent habits. Ask yourself these questions. How do these people spend their time? What kind of mindsets do they have? Are they positive people? Are they more negative people? Are they very needy? Now think about your number 1 goal. Do their habits align with the goal you're trying to reach? If not, it may be time to think about setting a boundary. And this doesn't mean pushing them out of your life completely by any means, but instead it means finding a different way to spend time with them. Rather than going out for dinner and late night drinks on a Thursday, so you wake up not feeling well and exhausted on Friday, plan a trip to the movies or get your kids together for a day at the lake. You can easily set boundaries to align with your goals simply by shifting how you do things and how and when you're showing up. Tip number 2 is swaps. I have talked about this before, and it is one of the best secrets to changing your habits. So some of the common excuses I hear from people who are struggling to stick with their goals to get healthy is they have no time, it's too expensive, and it's too hard. This is simply not true, and I'm going to change your mind right now. The simple fact is everything you do is a choice. So if you find yourself in the fast food line often to get fast food for a meal, if you find yourself looking at French fries in the freezer section of the grocery store, or if you find yourself sleeping in until the last minute and rushing out the door for work, I want to remind you these are all choices. So my biggest hack in those moments is to stop and ask yourself, is this action supporting my habit and my goals? And it just takes a few seconds to think about this and to make a choice. So instead of choosing fast food, you could be intentional and pack healthy grab-and-go snacks ahead of time like string cheese or an apple and some cashews. Instead of finding yourself looking at French fries in the grocery store, turn around and go find some frozen vegetables. Instead of sleeping in, set your alarm an hour earlier, get up and move your body. Everything you do is simply a choice, from the food you eat to how you spend your time. And I want you to think about it this way. You're already spending money on food. So instead of buying a $4 bag of frozen French fries, you could buy a $4 bag of frozen broccoli instead. And I guarantee if you continue to do this over time, you will spend less on doctor visits and prescriptions. And you can also do this with your time. Think about how you're spending your time and simply swap out habits you already have in your life with habits that will support your health and your goals. And this brings us to my number 1 habit that helped me put my symptoms into remission, and that is reading food labels. The bottom line is, don't read the front of food packaging to decide if something is healthy. And here's why. Food manufacturers' goal isn't to make you healthy, it's to make money. They use highly processed and synthetic ingredients that are inflammatory, destroy your gut, raise your blood sugar, and weaken your immune system. This is all connected to an increase in autoimmune symptoms and inflammation. And the kicker is many of these ingredients are added to food to make manufacturing easier. It has nothing to do with your health. So it helps the manufacturer increase shelf life. It helps to reduce manufacturing costs to the producer, so the food companies profit big. It has absolutely nothing to do with your health. So when you walk into the grocery store, going forward, I want you to start looking at food on the shelves with skepticism. And I want you to start looking for gimmicky phrases on the front of food packaging. Phrases like high in protein, all natural, or full serving of vitamin D. The next thing I want you to do is to turn the package around, and I want you to look at the ingredients list. And this is what I want you to look out for. I want you to recognize if the ingredients list is very long, and it may include ingredients you cannot pronounce, which typically are synthetic inflammatory ingredients. And then I want you to look at the nutrition facts as well, and I want you to be aware of sugar and carbohydrate content. So we dive deep into all of this inside the Autoimmune Reboot so you can learn how to live symptom-free in a way that fits in with your busy life, because healing your body from the inside out doesn't come from a pill or a supplement. It happens when you take care of yourself and nourish your body with the things it truly needs. Your spot is waiting for you inside the program, and I cannot wait to see you there. I hope this podcast has helped you in your autoimmune journey. If you find value and inspiration in this episode, please leave a 5-star rating and review and share the episode with a friend. When you do, you are helping this podcast reach people around the world who are ready to live a pain-free life. The information and opinions shared in this podcast are for educational and informational purposes only. The content within this podcast is not a substitute for professional care. Always seek the advice of a physician or medical professional to answer health-related questions. Implementing the advice shared on this podcast should be done at your own risk. Actions taken by listeners as a result of the content shared on this podcast is not the responsibility of the host or creator. This podcast does not endorse and is not affiliated with treatments or products mentioned in this podcast unless otherwise specified. Products or treatments shared in this podcast are for informational purposes only. Always seek the advice of a medical professional for answers to product or treatment questions. All content, including but not limited to text, graphics, logos, and material shared under the Autoimmune Reboot podcast, is protected by copyright and all applicable laws. Any kind of unauthorized distribution or use of this content is strictly prohibited and will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Listening to this podcast is acknowledging your agreement with these terms.